Welcome back, everybody. We are back with our second game of the night, and this is gonna be a spicy one. We got Rubber Ducky team tied for first place right now against Lamar Jackson Fan Club, who has been popping off recently. I think they started 0-2 and now they're 3-2. They're looking pretty solid right now. This is definitely one of the games that we're gonna be watching here that we have high hopes for. It's gonna be
Yeah,
super exciting.
we definitely have it. The 5-1 team, 3-2, and they're coming in on that hot streak. 3 games going in for Lamar Jackson's fan club. They did get an easier win, to say the least. If you look at it from a standings perspective, they did get the win over FNB, Frankenbeans. But a win is a win, and I think you need that momentum, especially heading into the second half of the season, especially with a lot of the newer teams getting on new roster changes and they're starting to look good. We just saw Mailbox's Angels with 2 games with their new lineup and they've looked really good. So really now it's about time to gain those momentums, especially heading into a tougher schedule for
Yeah,
Lamar Jackson's fan club.
absolutely. It's going to be like the whole second half of the season is the most important. Like you can start off 0-5, but if you win your next 5 games, there's a good chance you get into the playoffs anyway because well, I guess there's only 9. So if you go like 0-4 and then 5-4, you can still probably get into the playoffs just because it's top 6 teams and not like top 4 or something. But yeah, it's these next half games are very very important and Mark Jackson fan club definitely looking to take advantage of that for sure because like I said, this is their third win in a row last week against Big Shmi Gang, and they're looking to make it 4 in a row tonight against the number 1 team right now, tied for number 1 team right now.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, and this is going to be a huge thing. Looking at this game, it's probably going to be who can win the bot side, because obviously there's a little bit of a discrepancy with some bot lanes, and can Lamar Jackson fan carry from the mid lane? That's going to be the other big thing, because it does feel like a mismatch in the mid lane as well too, despite the 3-2 record that shows.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna have to come through Lamar Jackson fan, I believe. This game, he's gonna have to carry his team to victory. And here we go into the pro draft now. The first band coming out is gonna be the Nunu. It's still a very strong pick, and I honestly, there's no real surprise there. Nunu's a good pick, and you want to get rid of it whenever you can, really.
And Yogi's is a strong jungler, so if they are going to be winning on the side of Lamar Jackson's fan club, then they have to win the 2v2 with jungle and the yeah. Mhm. So RDT will be missing the 3 bans, but going back to the point where Lamar Jackson fan club has to win the 2v2, if they are able to get a strong jungle first pick and then get a strong mid lane pick either in this first round rotation on blue side or on the second rotation with the R4 or blue B4 B5, I think they'll be really good heading forward. It's just really as long as you get power picks to kind of help complement the 2v2.
Yeah, I think this draft's gonna really be focused around the top side of the map, where we're likely gonna see a jungle pick go through from the Lamar Jackson fan club and probably a top lane or a mid lane or both maybe. But I'll be surprised if we don't see either bot laner go out here. But yeah, like you said, Rubber Ducky team does not get the first 3 bans. They will have the final 2 bans to kind of get rid of some counter picks. And Hecarim and Vi are last bans, excuse me, for Lamar Jackson fan. It's putting a lot of respect on Aided's name here. Not letting him get a lot of comfort picks right now.
Right, and I haven't seen Aided play yet, as personally, being one of the newer people in the league. But I think one of the big things you see with the 3 bans, they definitely want to get him off the comfort picks, and I think this is going to be huge when you do want to play towards that top side. Because I think bot lane, if they're going to be playing safe, there is a little bit of a discrepancy, like we kind of mentioned earlier. What are they going to be playing? As I disregard my last comment, apparently they want to pick up a Samira for its first pick.
Yeah, that's certainly surprising. I was not expecting a bot laner to go this early, but especially not Samira. Like blind picking, first picking Samira. Like maybe Jin or like Ashe or someone who doesn't really get countered, but Samira can be countered pretty easily.
Now there are some counter picks that are a little bit well unknown in the Samira matchup. Lucian does do well into it, as the Shen does get picked up for the side of Rubber Ducky. That's a strong top laner, very mobile, especially post 6, great split pusher in the late game, as the Graves also gets hover too. So they got 2 power picks really when on the side of 1. So honestly, I think Rubber Ducky team kind of got the early advantage here with their picks, despite the 3 lost bans.
Yeah, I said earlier, like I'm expecting to see a lot of picks towards the top side of the map, but I was really meaning that towards the Lamar Jackson fan club. But Rubber Ducky team taking full advantage of that, picking up Shen and Graves. There's the top laner and the jungler, or I guess Shen could be support, but we're probably going to see him in the top
I
lane.
would honestly prefer to see a top side too, because I think at this point too, if you, it's a little bit more predictable with the Shen because you can flay out with the Thresh, which is a really good pickup here as the Kane is hovered, forced into that Graves Kane matchup too. I mean, we've seen some Kanes pop off, but I mean, from what I know, relatively speaking, is that the Graves does win those matchups. So we'll definitely see if Lamar Jackson Fan Club can utilize the Vayne pick or the Kane pick, excuse me, as the Vladimir gets plugged in.
Yeah, Thresh also gets picked for Lamar Jackson fan club as well, which is and they're really they don't want to give up their bot lane at all. Um, so yeah, they got the bot lane secured. They just need their solo lanes now, and there's a Yasuo ban. So Lamar
And
Jackson fan's not going to be on his Yasuo this game.
And this tells me, looking at Lamar Jackson fan club, that as the Morgana gets banned, they want to play aggressive. They want to go in on the level 2, possibly level 3, once Samir gets appointed each of the abilities to try to force the summoners and give the advantage over to Yogiza in the jungle. So I really think that it's a well drafted bot lane so far. As the Ezreal's going to get banned away, that's another good ban that's actually underrated against Samira because of the fact that he can dash out of it too. It's a little bit more easier to predict True Shot Barrage once the wind wall is down for Samira. So I would like to see an aggressive bot lane come out from Rubber Ducky because again, the Samira doesn't do well into these aggressive lanes. Lucian Leona would be a really strong lane as the Jin gets hovered. So we're going to see another Samira Jin bot lane again. Yes, we will.
Hmm. Yeah, something to note is the Yasuo and Yone bans, which are actually pretty surprising to me. I know Lamar Jackson fan has pretty a lot of experience on both Yasuo and Yone, but like they have enough AD already. I'm just surprised they didn't really ban any AP champs. Maybe
Right.
although it's certainly not a bad ban. I just think it could have been utilized a little better. But anyway, set picked up for Lamar Jackson fan, which could be going mid or top. Likely going to see it top. And they're going to pick one more, and then that'll give the counter pick to either mid or top, depending on where Vladimir is going. A lot of flexibility so far.
I'm
There's
assuming the
the AP that I
Vladimir.
was talking about.
Yeah, the Rise will be going up against the Vladimir in the mid lane. I think the Vladimir is a really. I'm not sure of the Vladimir in this current meta. I think Vladimir, from what I don't see that much of it, so I'm assuming it's around the B to A tier mid lane champion. Does have that safe sustain lane. The Ornn would be a really good pickup here. So you were right in possibly predicting the Shen going support too. So
Perhaps.
or it could be Ornn. It could be Ornn support. I mean, let's be real. This is a paladin, mage, assassin, tax evasion. I don't know.
Yeah.
Champion. He molts new champion, items, and also apparently he's really good at H&R block.
Right. all the fun stuff.
All the fun
Yeah,
stuff, definitely.
An interesting last pick. I wasn't really expecting that. But yeah,
Oh.
here we got the Ornn pick, and we still don't know if it's gonna be Ornn or Shen bot. So we'll see coming up right now.
So there's one issue. So there's one issue I have with each of the compositions. If you're looking at Lamar Jackson's fan club, they are definitely wanting to snowball ahead to get that 1-3-1 composition going because the Rise and the Set do really well in a solo lane scenario, but they don't have any siege potential in the mid lane because they're basically hoping that the Thresh Samira can survive if they are placed in the mid lane, for example, while Yogiza on the Kane just roams around and helps affect the side lanes, which I'm assuming that they want to do. For Lamar or for Rubber Ducky team, sorry, full team fight here, but really you have to scale into the late game. You do not have damage on Vladimir early. You do not have damage on Graves that early into the game, and really you want to get towards that 15 level 16 power spikes when you start getting those 3-4 items in, maybe 30-35 minutes into the game, and this is where Lamar Jackson fan club could take advantage with the early bot lane pick of Samira and Thresh, where you just snowball this bot lane.
Yeah, absolutely. The Rise Vladimir lane is probably gonna be very, very quiet. I doubt we're gonna see real much of anything going on there.
Right.
Because it's Rise and Vlad, and all they want to do is farm and stuff. But yeah, it's very interesting comps for both sides. But totally agree with what you said about both comps. Um, but personally, do you think which comp do you think is better here, and which do you think will eventually prevail through the game?
I honestly think it's going to be a little bit harder for Lamar Jackson Club to hit the back line, especially with the amount of CC that Shen and Ornn do provide, especially with the Grave smoke screen, because that's really going to cost Samira because Samira has to come into the team fights. Unless Set gets the Ornn and is able to destroy the back line, I'm giving it a small favor to Rubber Ducky team, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Lamar Jackson fan club actually pulls out the win.
Yeah, they certainly have the
That's just
momentum.
because they have great backline access with Kane, Samira, and Set too. So this is really going to be execution. It's execution versus position. Can Dejin survive long enough without being ulted on by the Set and the Kane and the Samira? And can the Samira survive long enough through the CC and through the potential burst of the Vladimir once he gets to those late game items to where she is able to survive the team fights? Because Vladimir can be scary. Uh, with the new items, possibly. We haven't seen much of Vladimir in most of the meadows, but if the Vladimir pops off, do you worry about the Vladimir being able to just backline access Samir, boom, one shot? Well, there goes your AD carry, and now you have no real sustained team fight.
Yeah, I totally agree. Something that I noticed with Rubber Ducky team's draft, I'm not sure if you said this because I actually went mic off for a second because I was talking to somebody, but like Samira won't really be able to do much, I don't think, come like 25, 30 minutes because Ornn and Shen will be tanky. Samira won't be able to really touch them without getting CC'd and then blown up. But then Vladimir has the pool, the super balance thing right there. Yeah, the pool. He could just press W and negates every single bit of damage that's coming his way. And then Jin has more range than Samira, and Graves has the blind and he has a lot of movement speed. I'm guessing he's gonna take phase rush, so he can just run away from Samira. I'm not totally sure how Samira is gonna be able to do that much damage unless, like you said, they do the 1-3-1 with Set Rise splitting and Samira, Thresh, and Kane just looking for picks because they totally can. And if they can catch somebody out, they're probably dead. Depending on who
They
they
do
are.
have the mobility, yeah. We do make that point that they do have the mobility. I'm a bit of a soft spot for this, but I would have loved to see the Vayne. And I know
Really?
people like if you look, and the only reason why is because I think with the itemization that Vayne has going Kraken Slayer into oh my god, the item actually just slipped from my mind. Damn, just like my homework assignments. But it's the Ginsu's. Thank you for myself. But going those two item route and then into the third item, Blade of the Ruin King or Phantom Dancer, you do so much damage to this tank line. You have a Shen, you have Vladimir, you have Ornn, you have Graves. How are you going to rip through that when Samira, when really the only item that you build that's really armor penetration is going to be the Collector, and that doesn't even, give you that much armor pen because it only gives you the lethality. So, but giving you the W passive on the Vayne, maxing that for the team fights would have been so much more effective, I think, in the composition. But and but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if they want to go with the powerhouse with Samira's not a bad pick, but into a full tank lineup like this, I think it's really going to be, on Grand Tesoro to kind of position properly and make sure, he can go in with Samira whenever he can. Otherwise, he's just going to pop.
Yeah, I totally agree. And so we're gonna head to a pause real quick while the spectator delay is waiting, and we will catch you guys back in just a couple minutes. Stay tuned. Alrighty. Welcome back, my dudes. We're back with our second game of the night, second of three, even though the third game doesn't really count. But second game is here. We have Rubber Ducky team tied for number one right now versus the LAMAR Jackson Fan Club, the up-and-comers, promising up-and-comers, because they are doing pretty damn good right now. But, alright, just looking at the runes.
Phase rush on the Vladimir, I think that's a really good one. I would have liked to actually see him more aggressive with the Ghost if he does want to get to the back line, especially because it procs well with phase rush. So, but the teleport does allow to match the Vladimir, or not the Vladimir, but the Rise. So we just want to point that out too, that they both have phase rush. Fleet looks like Conqueror all around for topside on LAMAR Jackson Fan Club. 3 Conquerors, that's fun.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Very, very fair rune right there.
We saw the
yeah.
fleet footwork from the Jin last game on Nikolai, but this game is a Dark Harvest deck. I would have probably liked to also see the fleet. I think because it gives them a little bit more mobility to play around the Kane, play around the Thresh a little bit better. But he's hoping that he gets to the point for your boy Alfred that he could start one-shotting the carries or get them low enough to where he could just pop them.
Yeah, my guess with taking the Dark Harvest on the Jin is that he's gonna go Gale Force, just because he has a little bit of a mobility or less mobility without the fleet footwork, like you were saying. But the Gale Force gives him that back, and he also scales pretty well into the late game as well.
Yeah.
So
most Jins are going to be running Gale Force, I think, because it provides so much more mobility in general too. Eclipse isn't what it used to be, and you never go just Blade of Drakthar unless you're trolling.
It's fun though. Come on,
it's fun. Do you want to? I want to go and visit Jin.
Yeah, it's super fun. But yeah, everything else seems pretty damn standard around here. Nothing nothing else going on really.
So topside's trading pretty evenly. I want to see where Aided and Yogis are going to be pathing to, because they're both going to be topside. There is the ward over by the Raptor camp right now. That's a blue ward, so it's going to be a little bit of a... If he walks up for the Scuttle Crab, they're going to know where he's at. And then if Yogiza doesn't want to take that 1v1, he can honestly just roam back down for their bot Scuttle Crab.
A really good early ward by LAMAR Jackson Fan, and he's actually slow pushing the wave into the tower, so it'll crash right when the crab spawns, so he'll be able to rotate over while Vladimir will be either stuck at his tower with the wave or he loses a lot of minions. So really good play, really good gameplay by LAMAR Jackson Fan thus far.
Yeah, and again, that's just because the Vladimir does not have any push power this early into the game. It's not going to be until maybe the 2-item, 3-item power spike where he can start really doing some damage. As we're going to look topside real quick. Ooh, he missed a smite. He was so close. We need to regroup. Both.
Yeah.
Yogiza actually did not commit smite. Yogiza, I don't think had vision. No, Yogiza didn't have vision. I'm looking back at it right now. Yogiza had no vision on this Scuttle Crab, so he couldn't smite it. But that was really close too, because Ada did smite early, and it was at 1 HP. So Yogiza could have honestly taken it, and it would have had a good EXP advantage. But right now, Ada's gonna get the bot Scuttle Crab as well too. So he's already slightly ahead in gold and XP.
Yeah, Rise, instead of roaming up to help with the crab, he actually looked for a cheater recall, which he got off pretty successfully. I already came back with a Sapphire Crystal and a pink ward. So just a little more early game pressure with the ward and vision and stuff like that, all that fun stuff. And we're actually gonna have an ocean drag start, which early oceans are always good. Always want that.
Yeah, that's true though. But if you're on the side of Rubber Ducky team, you definitely want to go for that early Drake too, just because it's going to really allow the Vladimir to stay in lane. The Horn's going to benefit from the health regen from it, and I think the Jin will benefit from it too. So they're definitely going to be wanting to play for it, but bot lane is pushed in right now. But we'll see what happens in the next, what is it, 5 minutes or like 3 minutes or so. Let's see what happens. Ooh, nice dodge on the stun.
It's like Graves is looking for something in the bot lane. Although the entire river is pretty much warded, so it's gonna be difficult for him to do much.
I mean, you got a pink ward in the bush. You got. I mean, they're gonna be able to clear out this side of the vision, right here where the Shen is sweeping out the with the pink ward, but you still have that pink ward that is sitting right into the jungle entrance on red side too, so that's really going to be useful come later into the game too, because they haven't cleared it yet and he hasn't even traveled that side, so they know where he's at. Graves is running topside over towards Yogiza. Yogiza's going to be able to clear this out. They're pinging his location.
Ooh. Collapse.
This could be juicy. Ooh. Kane's got the early advantage on the Ornn, but no, Ornn's just going to back out of there.
Yeah, better to play
Ryze
it
is
safe.
Ryze is not level 6 yet. Ooh. But the phase rush is just really good. It just lets him have so much more mobility to escape.
Absolutely. I love phase rush. Like most phase rush champions, I just really like. I play Orianna a lot, and I've actually taken, accidentally taken phase rush on Echo one time, and I got a pentakill with it. So I love it. I really like phase rush.
You know what's funny? I was actually never an AD carry when I first started the game.
Really?
I was actually a mid-lane Orianna player.
Respect.
And so I got introduced in season 7, you know, and really I fell in love with the game. Hold on, I'm gonna have to stop the conversation real quick. Ooh. No, he's not gonna go for the trespass on that. But back to our little story. Well, it's a farm fest for right now. But I got introduced to it from a friend. He was a one-trick Fizz player.
Ew. Oh my god. Stop.
And and so I met him through Call of Duty because I used to play it semi-professionally, kind of like how I play the ABG. It was just kind of the same thing with, you know, the Call of Duty scene. And so we were starting to play, and this was just like in a random team match, and he's just like, oh, like I want to invite you to my party, things like that. So we started hanging out for like a few weeks and things like that. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna be gone for a few weeks. And I'm like, what's that? He's like, oh, I'm like in some league competition. I'm like, what the hell is League of Legends? He's like, it's a MOBA. And so he had explained to me everything about League too. As the Deadly Flourish just come out, but nothing's gonna happen. Ooh, this Jin's cocky. I love it. Not really, but I don't. That was cocky. If he would have gotten hooked on that death sentence, he would have been dead.
100%.
100%. But I started playing the game too, and I kind of liked it in the beginning too. And like, of course, every new player wants to go mid, so I was just like, hey, I want to go mid because I want to be like my good friend because he was really good. I'm like, oh, I can be really good at this. So I started playing Orianna because that was the first champion that I got with the blue essence, and I climbed all the way to gold 3. In my first season. In my first season. And I never played the game before. And then I was just like, playing Season 8 preseason, I'm like, man, bot lane is so garbage. I hate my role. I hate bot lane. So I'm like, I'm going to switch to AD carry. And I've been playing AD carry since Season 8, and I still hate myself to this day for playing that role and swapping. But that's how I ended up... So my first champion was never an ADC. It was actually Orianna. And sometimes I play Orianna bot lane when I'm bored. It's so much fun.
When you're bored.
When I'm bored. Okay. And it's only in normal, so I never bring it out in ranked. Only because I'm like, oh, wait a minute real quick. Oh, I think this Ornn's dead. There's no way. Even with the channels, he's not going to survive. No, he does. Oh! Wow, the Kane's going to use the Humble Trespass, but he's still dead. Wow.
Damn, son. Okay. Yeah, Graves with a really good follow-up there.
Right, that was a really good time on the Shen ultimate too. The Stand United just gave enough time for the Orange to live, and he's just generally tanky. I mean, he's already got the Bomby Cinder and the Orange Shield, so he's just able to tank most of the damage. You don't have that much AD when you're going Recurve Bow as your first item after Plated Steel Caps, so... I was a little surprised that they went for that, but I mean, it was a good play. They did blow the Ornn ultimate, but they lost to... This is what I was talking about. Do you win the 2v2, you know, jungle mid, but apparently you can also win the 2v2 top. If you're lucky.
Only if you're lucky, though.
Only if you're lucky.
They burned a lot of ultimates for that, actually, and that's going to eventually lead to
Oh,
First Ocean Drake going over
they,
to.
they know they know the Graves is clearing out the pink, so they're just gonna give up the Ocean Drake, which I think is not the end of the world. It's gonna be a Mountain Dragon. So, ooh, are we going to see either a Cloud Soul or an Infernal Soul?
You know, I don't think that that Rubber Ducky team wouldn't mind the Cloud Soul whatsoever. Got a lot of ultimate cooldown reduction and the movement speed. I don't think they'll mind that at all.
They wouldn't. But I mean, last game we got the Infernal Soul, so or the threat of it too. The game never got to the point where the Infernal Soul actually mattered, but an Infernal Soul doesn't actually. I don't personally believe it benefits most of the team. The only champion I think it actually benefits would be the Graves and the Jhin. So if you're RDT, you would still want to play for Soul at this point too. I think the next 2 to 3 dragons are going to be really important too. Vladimir's getting ganked. I don't think this is a smart move. Ooh, that was a good flash, but that was a wonderfully timed flash too. Yogiza had the prediction on the W, but I don't think he had. No, he did have ultimate too, so he would have been able to pull off the Umbral Trespass.
A good heads up play by Edge the Owl. Really good play there. And Yogi's actually gonna get caught out here. Maybe. Never mind. It's Kane. He does Kane.
It's Kane. I really like the name Edge the Owl. That kind of sounds like what happens when you're like trying to deal with the pain of elo loss, and you're like, you're just like Edge. How do you get through the day? I edge the owl.
Yeah, I like it too. I like. It was kind of like weird for me to say at first because I'm like, wait, is it Edge TOW? Edge the Owl? But then it's like Edge the Owl. Okay, Edge the Owl. I like that. Yeah. Like kind of going off what you're talking about, like with your little story. My first champion, well, the first champion I remember was Shyvana, and I actually went top with her, and I built Relic Shield. I love that item for some reason. I had no idea what anything did.
Wasn't that a support item?
Yeah, it's a support item. Yeah, I bought a support item top lane, and I don't know, whenever junglers ganked me, I would get more gold, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. But it was before, like, funneling was, like, a thing. So, like, you could still got full gold from, like, farming minions, like, with the support items. So, like, it was still fine. And I remember I have a picture somewhere of my build, and I went, like 30 and, like, 2 or something. And it was the stupidest build ever, but it worked, I guess. It wasn't AP, I'll tell you that.
They're playing the Rift for bot lane too, but I don't know if that's really the move to go in my personal opinion. I think you can try to look elsewhere with it, especially I mean there's 45 seconds left for plating, so they do get 2.5, 3 platings here. Yeah, so 160 gold. The Jin's going Eclipse. Because you can see the Serrated Dirk and the Vamp Scepter, which does build into the Eclipse, which is what Graves already has with his gold advantage. But I don't like Eclipse on Jhin currently. I think the damage reduction they nerf from it for marksmen, especially for Jhin players, really doesn't allow him to have as much damage as possible. Plus, you benefit from the crit, you benefit from the mobility of Gale Force in comparison to Eclipse. All you get is a shield that's probably going to get bursted out anyway, so...
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not a big fan of the Eclipse. I think they just want the early game power too, because Eclipse into Collector is still an optimal build. I just like the Gale Force so much better. Because remember, you do get... No, actually, you don't get movement speed off crit. They did nerf the passive a few patches ago, if I remember correctly.
The Jhin passive or the Gale Force passive?
I think the Jhin passive, because I remember Jhin was nerfed, I think, 2 patches ago, so they basically reduced his base AD, which is why a lot of players are going with the Gale Force route, because it offers them more power in comparison to the Eclipse, because Jhin does scale with the crit and with the... Ooh, he does get the nice Deadly Flourish, but here comes the Rise. Oh, that was bad. Jhin, what are you doing? Oh, he's dead. And that was just perfectly timed. The Jhin had Flash. I would have just honestly prematurely flashed because you would have been able to get out of it. Lamar Jackson fan does burn the Flash, but... I mean... It was a good setup, though. It was really nice. I just think the Jhin could have not been there and maybe just... Like I said, premature flashes are always safer than blowing it, especially because with the flash you could reposition yourself a little bit better for possibly dodging a lot of these hooks from the Thresh too. But what do I know? I don't play this game. I'm not playing right now. I played my game. Apparently, they're playing the Ornn game as if Ornn. Oh, the Ornn ultimate got blocked too. Oh, that's a guy. Oh, Samir's just popping.
Oh, yikes.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Samir should be at no, yeah. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus. So apparently, you know what? I love being proven wrong because holy God, that fight was clean. 5 for 0, and you get Dragon, and it's a Infernal Soul. Holy Christ!
And now you close the 2,000 gold lead gap. Excuse me, that RDT had, and now you're up by over 1,000. Probably gonna get this first tower bot lane.
I think the big thing too was that the Vladimir doesn't have damage. You're honestly, you know, you can't really burst out any of the carries yet because you don't have any damage. You only have one item on Jing. You have one item on Graves. You have nothing on the Vladimir yet. And now you have first turret gold. You have 2 free kills on the Samira. It's a 1,200 gold difference right now just between the bot lane alone. So right now you have a lot of gold on Samira when we talked about the early aggression, having to get that gold lead. And right now they're kind of doing well with that and saying, hey, we're going to take this gold lead now. We're going to get our item spikes as we see the Leandric Anguish, the Gore Drinker come out. We see the Immortal Shield Bow. We see the Locket coming out. So there's a lot of good power spike in items for on the side of Lamar Jackson fan club.
Absolutely. This is exactly where they want to be. They want to have the Samira get a couple kills, and even better, the Ryze also has a couple kills. So he's already scaling better than Vladimir is right now. It's,
the Vladimir is going for the Proto Belt, but he is so far behind right now because he did rush the boots early too. But the Ryze is just so strong right now too. Even though he's slightly down in CS, like he's just so much stronger too.
Yeah. The Mythic for Ryze actually could be Night Harvester too because they both have the same build path. But Protobot I imagine is going to be the build because it gives you that movement speed, which is what you want.
Yeah, with Night Harvester, it's mostly if you have like a burst mage, I think. But I think the Protobot is just a safer pick too.
Yeah,
again,
I agree.
it allows him if he goes into the pool, allows him the Protobot, allows him to get to the back line, you know, a little bit easier. But he's so far behind.
You can Protobot in pool. Wait, that's broken.
You used to be able to, but the Thresh is getting caught out right now. I don't know what he's doing alone, but I don't know. He's got Samir. Never mind. What am I doing?
Yeah, Samir's there. Don't worry about it. Samir's there.
But I remember I used to have a little bit of fun when I used to try out Vladimir and Earth. That there was an old mechanic. I don't know if they fixed it or not, but you used to actually Protobelt in the pool if you timed it. I think there was like a half-second window where you were able to like use Ghost and then Protobelt at the same time into pool, and it was just so good because it allowed you to kind of like also proc your E off at the same time, because that was a big combo. Was pool into the Predator, because that was a build back in the day too. You ran Predator with Ghost because with Protobelt you just basically move it to the back line. They're jumping everything on Ornn right now though. Ooh, hey. Here come the curtain calls too. Gran Turismo. Oh, this Samir is just running through everybody right now though. Oh, you scumbag King, you took the Quadra. And the scumbag Ryze also takes the Quadra. A triple kill for the Samira though. Holy.
Yeah, this is exactly where they want to be right now. If they can just keep this lead and if they can end soon, Vladimir won't get time to scale, Jin won't get time to scale, and the game's just kind of just over.
So apparently Grand Soros saw that Samira game and said, you know what? I'll win this one for you, Zealot.
Yes, sir. Showing him the true Samira up in these parts. And what a dominant fight.
Yeah. The thing with Samira though is just that with the amount of items he has, with the shield bow, with the new Vamp Scepter, with the Conqueror, and with the shield bow being buffed in the recent patch, she just gained so much health from her ultimate too, especially as she's really close to getting her Bloodthirster second item here. She has a lot of tankiness too with the locket coming out from Thresh. She does get the shields from the Thresh as well too. So she's just going to be able to survive a lot of these fights too. I would assume her next item build path would be either an attack speed item. I would not probably go Phantom Dancer here because really she's not an auto attack based champion. She's more about.
Oh my God, they're sneaking the Baron.
Oh, this is so cheeky because they know the dragon's up. They know dragon's up right now. So they're trading dragon for Baron, but the set doesn't actually see it. No, he's gonna see it. Ooh, can they make it? No, they don't have enough damage.
That's a bad idea.
Oh,
This is bad. Yeah, they got a dip.
this is almost as bad as me regretting not taking back my exit, but the set's gonna be going in. He's gonna suicide for it though. Okay.
But for the cleanup.
Ooh, that's 2 kills. So Vladimir has to use his tools, so. Oh, that's a shutdown. Nobody's got Samira though. Ooh, wait, get the Samira. Get the Samira! Oh my god!
And they turned it.
Holy god, the Ornn knocked up the Samira with the ult, which stopped her ultimate, and then was able to just knock up again to get the kill. The Jhin was able to get the shutdown onto the Samira.
Yeah, that was okay, that looked really, really bad for RDT. That looked super duper bad because Vladimir got hooked or rooted by I think it was Jhin root or not Jhin root, excuse me, Rise root, and he had to pull instantly. So he like didn't even get his ult off like at all because you can't use any abilities during that except for your E. But and he couldn't get his ult off, and like it just looked bad because they were on the back half. The set damage was huge, but they somehow turned it around, and it all came really from the Ornn. He knocked up Samira, like you said, out of the ultimate, and then he got that triple knockup at the end to secure the fight. Really, really well played.
He did use the Hema Plague, actually. And it's on cooldown.
Oh, no, I meant like, he didn't use it like instantly, like when they were all like there. Like he had to use it like as like a defense mechanism. But yeah, I saw that he used it, but like he wasn't able to use it when they were all together like that.
I think the issue too is that the fact that he would have only ulted maybe 2 people, so having them kind of get into that choke point though does kind of give it off. Even though he died from it, they should be able to see the vision. They have vision of it because they know Kane just went over the deadly trap, so they know they're at the Baron.
This is interesting. Okay, they really want the Baron.
They're both teams are not Baron killing teams, but they're a little bit faster on it. Here comes the right. Oh, this is what I was talking about. We're gonna be seeing some fights here too. The Sesha's in the backline. He's just gonna kill the Jhin. No, he's not. This Jhin doesn't know how to auto attack a champion. He's auto attacking. Oh my god. Wait, the Vladimir's just able to get out. He's able to heal if he's lucky. Oh, he's able to get the heal. The Lamar Jackson fan does get the kills on the backline too. Shen's the only one alive. God, that just hurt my damn brain. Jesus. I'm sorry, but do you auto the Scryer's Bloom Orb instead of a champion? You could have gotten a Dark Harvest stack. Instead, the only thing you got is a one-way ticket to the fountain. Holy!
Extremely unlucky, and it was like the opposite of the fight prior. Like it looked really, really bad for Lamar Jackson fan club, but they somehow turned it around. This game's kind of all back and forth, but the gold lead is now almost 7,000 here, and I think the snowball for Rise and Kane's kind of getting out of control. Like Samira maybe is getting focused a little too hard because they don't have enough damage or crowd control to take out the other 2 carries.
The other big issue too is the fact that the Vladimir are still on 1.5 items too. So if you look at across the board too, you have 2 items on Seth. You have pretty much 2 items on Kane as he just completes the Black Cleaver, 2.5 now. Rise has 2.5 items. You know, Samira has 2.5 items. Everybody has 2.5 items in comparison to the Vladimir. He is not going to be destroying them. It was a good initiation attempt, though, with the Vladimir-Shen combination, because that's something we actually never talked about, is that that's a really good combo, but he just doesn't have enough damage yet.
Yeah, try that again in like 10 minutes, and he will be able to one-shot damn near everybody. But just right now, like you said, he just doesn't have enough damage.
I'm going to multiply that by 2.
Do you think 20 minutes? Okay, well maybe we'll see a 40-minute game.
The way they're playing right now, this has to be stalled to 40 minutes. Otherwise, they're really good. Because right now, the highest level is your top 3, your top mid and jungle. Meanwhile, Lamar Jackson fan club, or their mid laner, is already level 15. He already has, I'm pretty sure he's pretty much has, whatever bells, what is it, QWE maxed out soon. Because he's probably only
Yeah.
has, if I'm him, I'm probably only putting 1 point into my ultimate. But
Well, he actually so the cool thing about Rise is that this might have been changed because I don't really play Rise that much anymore, but his whenever he upgrades his ultimate, he gets more damage to flux targets. So like if he E's
oh
like someone, like his
yeah,
Q
overload
does
damage
like
at 70%.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, here comes another fight though. Ooh, this is a big one. They're gonna get TJ. Yeah, they're gonna get a little TJ too. But Jackson Fan Club is just wreaking havoc right now. That Shen ultimate is way too late. They do get the Dark Harvest stack, but that's a great taunt. But little TJ's coming out with some BM. Oh wait, no, he's dead. No, ooh, he just got 900 gold. Oh, that is so good, but you give up soul.
I think that Soul was gone anyway, so going back in actually wasn't the worst decision there. He gets a lot of gold and
honestly, Dragon Soul is gone. My soul is gone.
yeah,
Jesus, Jesus, please.
yeah, they gotta end fast though. They do have to end
Yeah.
fast, or else it's just gonna kind of get out of control for Vladimir. But like you said, he doesn't even have his second enemy. I don't know what he's going for next. Kind of looking like
Could be
the hourglass here.
Either
Maybe.
well, he does have the Oblivion Orb into the Fiendish Codex, so he could. I don't know what it built into. It does it build into?
I think that I don't think that builds in anything. It's just the Oblivion Orb now gives us grievous wounds, which is all you really need. And so I think he's getting that and getting the hourglass.
I would have loved to see him
the,
try to complete. I would have loved him try to see him complete that item, whatever it goes into, just because they need as much healing reduction as possible. Because if you look on the side of, Lamar Jackson Fan Club, they have 3 champions that can sustain team fights. They have Yogiza with a red form cane. And they have Set, who's just stupid. They have Samira, who's
also stupid.
Yeah, with 2 lifesteal items and Conqueror, doesn't die, has an ultimate that just goes brrr if you're AD Katarina, but now AD Katarina is a thing, so I don't know what to, which one is AD.
You can move now with this one. You can move with Samira's ult.
Yeah, my LP moves down whenever I have a Katarina on my team. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Jin's getting close to caught out too. He has 2.5 items right now too. He did complete the Collector. And I'm assuming he's probably going to go for the RFC, the Rapid Fire Cannon, with this build. I really would have loved to have seen the Gale Force, honestly. I think he kind of trolled a little bit because he's not a tank killer. How are you going to be killing tanks when your front line's dying faster than, I don't know, they're just dying.
Yeah.
Really, again, we talked about it as a Thresh Lance, a hook too onto the Ornn. I don't know if that's a smart play, though. He's fine. It's Ornn. Just one thing. No, he's gonna die. This Jin... Oh, God. That Jin got greedy. Goodbye. Nope. Nah, that's game. Alrighty.
Probably game.
Well, Lamar Jackson Fan Club gets a huge win. They move to 4-2. They knock off a Rubber Ducky team. Having to play with some emergency subs, so it's not their full team. So really... it's kind of like the NFL with COVID. It's like you're not really playing with all the starters, but, a game's a game, and Lamar Jackson Fan Club goes to 4-2.
Yeah. What a dominant performance by Lamar Jackson Fan Club. That was really, really well played.
So many good score lines. Who do you give MVP to? That's a big question. I would honestly look at either giving it to Rise or the Samira. I think Lamar Jackson Fan and Grand Tesoro really snowballed through their lanes, and then everybody else kind of benefited because the set wasn't really doing too hot early game.
Right.
And I think Samira and Rise played their early laning phases well to the point where they were able to just scale up and snowball their lead. And we honestly saw, look at it, 8-2 and 15, 9-2 and 15, just absolute domination across the board.
Yeah, I think I might have to give that one to Rise as well, just because I don't know, look at the damage charts, man. He did damage, he did work, and yeah, his snowball was able to He's snowballing. Him snowballing, excuse me, was able to ultimately lead to like the easy team fight wins, and just his positioning was super on point, and they weren't able to do anything against him.
I'm sorry, what? 31,000 damage done by the Rise.
Yeah, big boy damage.
That is big
All
boy
right,
damage.
all right. I think we're ready, Mister Observer. Let's bring in Lamar Jackson fan.
Ah,
Is in fact, where is he? There he is. Hello, are you there?
Yep.
Lamar Jackson. What's up? How? Okay, take us through that game. What was going through your head to that game?
I mean, there was a lot to think about that game. I mean, I'm playing Rise, so my positioning has to be perfect. But I mean, like we were just. I think we won that game because of the macro. I mean, like I made almost all the shot calling. Um, and I was actually surprised at how much damage I did at the end of the game, 31,000. But yeah, another great performance from everyone.
Yeah, you talk about your positioning and how it had to be perfect, and it was damn near perfect. I think you ended 8-2. Really strong
9
performance
and
by
2.
9-2. Really strong performance by not only you but your entire team. Give us like what do you think of your team like right now? I know you I'm sure you know them like in real life and stuff. But like how do you guys think that you guys are meshing together? I guess.
Well, I mean, like we started the season 0-2, and so the roster was kind of iffy back then. We had like no chemistry at all. But after I brought in our top laner, we started to really hit it off. I think our chemistry is really good. Especially, I mean, that's really important when controlling vision. We heavily prioritized denying their vision. Like every time we got them off the map, we would head into the jungle and eat up all the camps. Would dump vision everywhere, and I mean it's like that's usually my strategy when it comes to shot calling. Just suffocate them out with vision control. But yeah, we're our team is pretty good in terms of chemistry.
Yeah, I agree. Nikolai, you got any questions?
Mm, going into, I believe, what do we have? 4 games left? 3 games? What is
I
it?
think it's I think some are at 3, some are at 4.
Yeah. So, last 3 games, you guys, I believe, are tied with Mailbox's Angels for top 4 right now. But going into the later half of the season right now, is there any team that you're kind of thinking about maybe could give you some trouble getting closer to postseason, or hoping for any teams that you want to face off against?
Well, I mean, it's the same in real life sports, like the NFL, right? There's that one game everyone's anticipating, everyone's preparing for, everyone's hyped up for, and I think that one's gonna be versus the luck of the draw. I've made sure to keep our egos in check. We want to stay humble. We want to stay focused on grabbing the win. We don't want to get too arrogant. But we are looking forward to luck of the draw, and definitely will be preparing. Some of we are on a 4-game win streak, but I think the second half of the season is where we really need to prove ourselves, and we're going to definitely be working hard for the second half of the season.
Absolutely, love to hear it. And speaking of Mailboxes Angels, you guys actually play them next week. Give us a little bit of thoughts about that game and like how you guys think that you're gonna face up against them because they're on a pretty hot streak right now too.
We were watching the game versus their game today, Mailbox's Angels. We did see Mailbox go 13-0 on Kazakhs, and I think it's safe to say that we're going to be strategizing around the enemy jungler there.
Awesome, love to hear it. Well, it was a very dominant win. Nikolai, if you have any more, unless you have any more questions, I think we're gonna let you go.
Yeah, we're all set. I'm set.
Awesome. Well, congratulations yet again, and we hope to see you next week.
Yep. Thank you. Bye.
Interesting that he's already pre-planning for Mailbox, considering that most teams kind of do target Mailbox. But we'll see what happens next week because
That's gonna be a fun one.
it's two hot teams, and I don't want to be caster bias, but when you have two hot teams going head to head, it can get really spicy too, especially
Oh
with
yeah.
especially with the upgrades made on Mailboxes Angels and the resurgence of Lamar Jackson Fan Club, that could be game of the week because that's playoff positioning too, if you think about it.
Absolutely. All right, I think we're ready for Aiden. Bring him on in, Papa Pastries. Mr. Aiden.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. So give us the rundown on that game. Like, what was going through your head really throughout the game?
Yeah, I think we probably lost the game at the Drake fight that we lost. We decided to force a 4v5 and it didn't work out. So I think everything kind of stems from that. We just were kind of too behind. You're up against like stuff like Kane Samira and you just give them a bunch of kills and kind of just falls apart from there.
Yeah, the snowball seemed to get a little out of control with Samira and Rise. Just unfortunate there, but yeah, Nikolai, I'm gonna hand it over to you. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, what was the idea behind the Vladimir pick? Because Vladimir, it seems like he's not as strong into even a blind pick scenario. It just seems like he just takes forever to scale, and like you guys initially just lost the early game fight. So, what was the initial idea behind the pick? Was it just a comfort pick for your mid laner? Was it just something that you guys wanted to try out, or?
It's a comfort pick. I think in retrospect, we probably didn't draft around it very well. There were a lot of situations where like the Samira and the Kane lived with like 2 HP and then got to just lifesteal back and drain. I think the Vladimir pick's fine, but we didn't really give it a comp that it could succeed on. We need something like an Amamu or like a Malphite top or something like that to like really kind of drill the Wombo through. Because like I think if we lock down the Samira Rise with like 2 Wombos, then we probably win a lot of those team fights.
And that's a definite thing too. So one other question too was, as I'm kind of looking at towards the end of the game, you guys kind of dropped to 5-2, especially with playoffs looming a little bit too. So what's kind of your thought process? Are you guys hoping to just kind of like recoup, get back to practice, and then hopefully win out so that you guys can either keep your 1 or 2 seed?
Yeah, that's pretty much the plan. I mean, today was kind of a confluence of bad luck / bad planning. Like we were down the 3 bans, we wouldn't have let Samira through. We have an emergency sub ADC. Our ADC had some family stuff come up suddenly, so it's a lot of stuff to point at, but there also just stuff we need to work on macro wise.
And then that's pretty easy to understand when you have to have all that situation coming around. But that ends my question. I don't know if Aiden has any more.
No, I don't have any more. Just a series of unfortunate events for you and your team tonight. Like you said, the emergency sub, the unfortunate, like you couldn't get 3 bans. But we know we've seen you guys play. We know you guys are a very strong team, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week. And actually, before you go, about next week, you guys play against the other #1 team right now, Natural Big Boys Club. Just give us a couple words on that team, because I know Zero Kills is watching right now.
They're toxic, and I hope we win. That's about it.
Love to hear it. Well, we hope to see you next week, man. It'll be fun one to watch for sure.
Sweet. Yep. Thanks, guys.
20 minutes.
Thank you.
And that's starting now.
Okay, yeah. So we I'm hyped for this next game. I don't know about you, but I'm really hyped for this next game because I am playing an Mod Squad takes on Midi Carry Fan Club right here. It's gonna be a fun one. You guys are going to stick around for that one.
Man, do I get to roast the mods? No, I'm kidding.
Hell yeah.
All right, I'm gonna be banned after this game. All right.
Love to hear it. Stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned.